Bob.
Hi, Zax.
Well, I think this is the start of something new today.
It
Creeped
is?
out? Kinda.
How?
The last few episodes have been real bad.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I see how this might be the start of something new, yeah.
Yeah, this one was real weird.
Yeah,
So,
not good, but weird.
yeah, this is of season 1 of Creeped Out, Netflix release, episode 11.
It's
The
also episode
Trap.
11 of the original release.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
And it is called The Traveler.
Spooky.
Yeah. See, you're already more high energy. You don't sound like you're about to die for once.
Yeah, I mean, this was an episode that, when we watched it, we had things to talk about. And
Yeah.
that's always a good sign. It got us thinking, it got us chewing the fat. In previous episodes, usually we're kind of just talking about what we're going to say during this recording, right?
Or,
Like, we're just kind of planning ahead, like, oh, we should mention that. But, like, this time we actually had a discussion about some of the topics touched on in the episode. Which, I mean, I'm not saying this is a particularly great episode, but at least it got us talking, and that's better than nothing. So I guess props to the show for that.
yeah.
I'll give them credit.
Yeah. One thing that's really weird, and we're going to get into more detail later, but in case you haven't noticed and you haven't been keeping up with the series, by the way, you should definitely watch the first 3 we put out.
You should watch all of them. Don't tell
No.
people not to watch episodes.
You know, I'm not saying not to watch them.
I was gonna correct you earlier when you said like, "Thanks for sticking through it," because it shouldn't be a slog for them. They should still enjoy our coverage of it. You don't have to watch every episode of the Netflix series. Not every episode's as good as every other episode.
I'm not super good on selling us, I'll admit. I
Confidence.
Alright. Watch the whole series, Card in the Corner. But in case you haven't noticed a pattern yet with all the episodes. But I will say, it seems like the writers or the creator, or I don't know who thinks of these, but they had a bad childhood, or they currently are going through a bad parenthood, because it seems like they've got a lot to work through when it comes to mother-child bonds or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't go that far, but I'd go close. I'm pretty sure all of the episodes we've seen so far have been written by the same 2 people, the creators of the show. I want to say Bede or Bede Blake. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And Robert Butler. The 2 of them wrote this episode as well. And you mentioned this while we were watching. Generally, Creeped Out has a pretty good track record with moms.
Yeah.
Or mother figures. Sometimes they're not actually the mom, but they are kind of the stand-in for the mom. Like in that episode, oh my gosh, what was the Jubs episode?
Oh yeah, A Boy Called Red.
Yeah, A Boy Called Red. The aunt kind of acts as a mother figure in a little way, and this episode's no exception. The mother in this episode gets all my sympathy. The actor who plays the mother does a very good job. I honestly, like, not even like without hesitation, I can say, does a great job. Most of the actors in this episode I thought did fine. But anyways, we haven't even gotten to the plot.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to jump in.
Oh, wait, what about are we going to talk about the Curious?
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to even talk about the main lesson because you don't need it anymore. We've been through this together. All I'm going to tell you is this. So, last episode, they had the Curious banging on a cave, and this episode, he's literally just wandering a parking lot.
Yeah, he's standing in a parking lot, and then, like, at one point, he starts spinning around in circles.
Yeah.
It really highlights how little they had to do for the Curious. Like, the Curious, they were really running dry on creepy things for him to do.
We rewound it And I was not paying attention to the narrator. I have not been paying attention to the narrator. We
Okay.
don't need them anymore. It does not impact anything. Let's go. I'm in this.
I was paying attention to the narrator.
Oh.
You know how okay, I do want to say something with the narrator at the beginning part.
Ah,
I know,
okay.
I know.
All right.
But I want to say something. In previous episodes, the narrator has been somewhat metaphorical or vague. This episode, the narrator says something to the effect of like, you know, some people believe that bad things happen. If you do something bad will happen to you. But what if that something bad wasn't just the universe, but it was a creature that was coming after you?
Oh, is that what she was on
That's
about?
what she said, which is like not a metaphor at all. That's the plot of this episode.
It's also just weird.
It's so on the nose.
There you go. I guess he did a little something.
I mean,
There.
he basically just gave us a place for the camera to be.
Yeah, he gave us a place for it to shift up.
And
then,
look at the teens who are the focus of this episode.
And so, yeah, so that leads us into, I believe their names are Jody and Brandon.
You got it in one.
Let's, yay me.
Yeah, 11 episodes in, and we're starting to remember names.
We got a season 2.
Yeah. So Jody and Brandon are the two main characters. Don't forget to mention, sweet. You said house music?
Oh.
It was what? Royalty-free synth music.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
You kind of expected like glow sticks and like flashing lights, except it's the middle of the day and they're around an apartment complex. And Jody and Brandon are having an absolute ball throwing water balloons at each other, at just random furniture, at other residents of this apartment complex, dropping one down below onto a guy who's texting on his phone. And
he looks up like, what?
And he's like, oh, I can't believe that happened to me. And I'm wondering, how can you not believe that happened to you? Like, you heard them giggling, you heard the sounds of water balloons going off, you saw the splashes of water, you still chose to stand directly underneath them, texting on your phone. Like, you had to know that was gonna happen to you, right?
He needed to answer them right away.
So he can't walk and text?
No.
Alright.
So they're doing that, which, and we'll get into, like, my opinions on their activities.
No, go ahead. I'm just doing the background music.
Right. We'll get into our opinions about, like, the activity itself a little bit later. But here's one thing. This woman, Grossman? Budsman?
No, Gunson.
Gunson. Oof. So close. Okay. Miss Gunson, or Miss, I think she's single. Gunson.
Would you marry her?
Them. No.
She was awful.
So.
You know what she is?
She's?
You know what she is? She's alone.
Okay. Okay.
I
don't like. Usually, it's bad when you interrupt me, but I'll allow that one. That one's okay. You don't get scolded for that one. Okay. So, all right. So now I got a weird old lady.
That's a joke just for the two of us. Because, like, even other fans of the show are probably not as attached to that one line as we are. Alone.
Well, hopefully fans of episode 5 of our series are, because we spent a great deal alone there, too.
Alone.
Okay, stop. Okay. Alright. So Miss Gunson, or whatever her name is, she's, like, videotaping them, and she's, like, she's filming them doing this, and she walks up, but we don't really get to see the full tape, and it's funny because I think she's also aware that it's not a good footage, because when she shows it to the mom, she shows them for like half a second, then turns the phone back right away. I'm pretty sure all that's on tape, literally, is them laughing together and holding water balloons, which, like, yeah, it's an apartment complex, so shenanigans are likely to ensue, but that's not a crime in and of itself. So
That's nothing, yeah. But either way, she catches them, and she films them on her phone, and then she walks up to them and says, "You two are being real rascals, and I don't appreciate that. And and they're like, oh, Ms. Gunson, chill out." And she's like, "No, I'm not going to chill out, because you know where this leads. It's a slippery slope. You don't want to end up like Baz Warren." And then the camera like pans down, and they're right there in the apartment complex. There's a guy wearing a high visibility jacket, and it says, what does it say? Community. It's basically community payback, yeah. But it's basically he's doing community service, cleaning up this apartment complex, which technically doesn't really make any sense, because like normally community service where you'd clean something up would be in a public space, but I don't think these apartments are public. And so then they're like, buzz off, Gunson, and she's like, "No, I'm taking you back to your parents." And they go, "Oh, fine." So they go back to Jody's apartment, and they knock on the door, and on the other side of the door is Jody's mom, and she says,
she's in scrubs, by the way.
Yeah, she's in scrubs, and she says, "Hi, Mrs. Gunson, how can I help you?" And Mrs. Gunson says, "Your daughter has been all kinds of bad. It's a slippery slope. You don't want her to end up like..." And Jody's mom is like, "Baz Warren, I know." And I'm like, why are you talking so much crap about Baz Warren? Like, leave him alone.
She's in love with Baz Warren.
Oh.
I don't know.
It's to throw them off the trail of their juicy love affair.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's just a theory.
A bad theory.
Yeah, okay.
So Jody's mom says, "Yeah, I'll get Jody in here. Come on in, Jody." And Jody's like, "Oh, I'm all grumpy."
And she's like, "Look, like, all the time I'm getting calls about you." And she's like, "Oh, look, you got a big head." Like, and she's like, "Look, they're all complaining about you. Well, you gotta stop this." Is basically the point.
The gist,
and
yeah.
The gist of it. Also, Brandon went home, in case you didn't say.
Brandon gets sent home as well.
They all live in the same apartment, which at first I was like, where does he live? But they are all in the same complex, so it's fine. So she's like, "Look, you've got to like fix up your act or something, because like this is getting to be too much." And then Jody's really not responsive at all to this. So the mom just gets up and she's like, "Look, I'm just came back from a 12-hour shift. I'm going to bed. You're grounded. See ya."
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
And Jody's like, "Grounded? What?" And then mom is like, "It's amazing how you're always surprised by this." And now, having seen the episode, I agree with the mom. Yeah. It is amazing that she's surprised that she's grounded. Because the kind of shenanigans she gets to in this episode alone, let alone just like outside of the episode as implied, of course she's getting grounded. She's probably getting grounded constantly.
Yeah, what I will say is by the end of the episode, it's not even really to reform Jody anymore. It's strictly to save others. She is a menace to society.
She's just like a force of chaos everywhere she goes, apparently.
Chaotic evil times 3, I think.
I'm trying to think if it would be chaotic evil or chaotic neutral.
Leave a comment what you think Jody's alignment is.
Yeah, go ahead and leave a comment what you think Jody's alignment is.
Okay, so back to this. So then she's like, I'm going to sleep, and she immediately calls Brandon and is like, "Grounded, but you didn't say I can't have any visitors. So
which is
like
over." This was we had a big long conversation during the watching it about whether or not grounding works. And I think, like, regardless of whether, like, yeah, mom didn't say you can't have visitors, but you live in this household. You should know at least the gist of what's being asked of you when you're getting grounded.
Yeah, all parents are different, more or less. You've been here long enough. You know what your mom's rules are about being grounded.
Yeah, like you're maybe your parents are the kind of people who grounding means no phone, no computer, no video games, no this thing, no that thing, no going outside, whatever. Like, it could be any number of things, In this case, you should know.
Yeah, Jody, this is another Tuesday for you, Missy. You know. You know what your grounding entails. If you're gonna not listen, fine, but don't be cute like, she didn't say this. Like, no. You're a grown girl.
I'm really glad she didn't bring it up when she has the inevitable fight with her mom about it.
Well,
right?
she brings up she does try, she keeps getting cute, and that's, I think, like,
she does try to get cute,
Jody.
but she doesn't specifically say,
yeah.
you didn't say I couldn't have friends over.
Yeah. So Brandon is like, I'll be right over. And this is why I mentioned that they're all in the same complex together, because at first I was like, codependent much? Like, I just got home, Jody. You can deal with being grounded for one evening. I'll come over tomorrow.
Brandon's parents weren't home, which is why he's able to just leave.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Brandon doesn't need to be there.
No.
Like, at all.
They just got finished with their water balloon shenanigans. Like, how much do you need to see of a person?
Yeah, like, how much hanging out do you need to do before you say, all right, today's done?
You're in trouble. Maybe this is why she doesn't learn anything. She doesn't even take a second to be like, man, Mom's kind of disappointed at me again.
Well, no, that's basically the point of the episode. She never takes a moment to think about, like, even slightly, like, moderating the amount of constant, exciting fun she wants to have. Which, by the way, this is another thing that you and I mentioned, and we forgot to mention back in the water balloon fight. Is that fun?
Oh, right. Yeah, is
like,
that? Because,
they seem to be having a lot of fun, but, like, how fun is it really for you to have a bunch of water balloons and just throw them at random unsuspecting people?
You know what maybe this is just because I'm not a good teenager. I don't know.
You're not a good teenager at all. You're way too old.
Yeah. But even back in the day, all I look at when I see that is, like, because obviously they're not concerned with cleanup, but just the process of getting it ready, like filling up balloons. I really think about filling up a water balloon and tying it up. That's an annoying process.
Yeah.
And, like, so that took, I don't know how many they had. They had at least 30 balloons. So that took at least, I don't know. I don't think you could do a balloon a minute. Unless they do this all the time and they're just like Sonic when it comes to water balloon prep. So that's like at least an hour, right?
Of prep for a good
very
time.
Little payoff. Unless because that's what we were also thinking, like if like, because Jody's mom was tired, they didn't really have a talk. But if they had a talk and it was like, heart to heart, like, where are you coming from with this? Would be, I guess, my main approach. That's how I was raised. Like, what is it, like, what do you get out of this? How can we redirect this
that was
energy
the main thing we were talking about. Redirection is absolutely the way to go. And Mom is tired, and, like, I'm like, I get it. She's like, you're grounded because I've just had a 12-hour shift, and I've got to sleep. And I'm like, I get that. Why doesn't Jody recognize, like, oh, I did it's not even a matter of I did a wrong. Just, like, I've made my mother upset.
No.
So, like, maybe just, like, let her sleep.
Yeah, so at the very least, you're being rude. Because, like, forget being grounded. You're being rude because you're well, we'll get there. So, cut away from him a bit. Baz Warren.
Our favorite character. You don't want to end up like him, but he's our favorite character.
He's just still doing his community work in the apartment complex. But he has not made any progress on whatever he's trying to do. And a blue hand comes up to him and the world around him freezes. You see, like, a woman about to take a step and she sort of falls on her feet. This guy in the background, he just freezes in place.
Yeah, they tried to make it look like everybody froze in time at the same time. And the woman does a great job looking like she's, like, mid-walk. And the guy, Baz Warren, you see him from the back always until later. But, like, in these initial shots, you only see him from the back, and he's frozen in place. But the guy walking kind of further in the background, he doesn't know how to stop in place like he's halfway through a step, and instead he just looks like he's standing in place in the middle of the parking lot.
But, like, anytime they do this in anything, not just Creeped Out, just, like, anytime it's, like, where the world freezes, there's always someone who
That's
goofs
true.
it.
I mean, it's like,
So, like,
the director
what?
can't have an eye on absolutely everything in those other shows, right? Like, if 20 people are there and one person looks absolutely stupid.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
the director should have just stood up and said, like, extra, get out of here. Just move. We'll get you in another shot later, just
like,
not, you're not doing it this time.
something. I don't know. Something. But, okay, so he touches him. We don't know what happens. Go back upstairs. I don't know how much time was between the call, the Baz, this hangout, but they've got 2 Atari controllers. They're playing a 3D football game.
Which is definitely not an Atari game, because it's 3D.
It's not
Yeah.
Asteroids.
There's so
Then-
much food on the table.
Oh, whole smorgasbord. They've got, like,
Popcorn and candy and burgers and
fries
fries.
and
like 3 or 4
Now-
different kinds of soda in different forms. Some in cups, some in 2 liters, some in cans, some cans opened, some unopened. Like a total chaotic, like, how did you even get all this food in here without waking up mom?
Right. And once again, I will qualify, like, I'm all for a bestie junk food feast. But how much time passed?
Yeah.
Did you call him and you started putting this together?
It was at this point that the two of us both came to the conclusion that the two of them, although they aren't in the show, they should be dating, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're clearly already in the honeymoon phase of dating.
Yeah, because I was going to say it's more on her side because, like, she just got grounded and her first instinct is, like, you
Yeah.
need to come over, obviously. But then they have this weird moment where okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to say my theory, you say your theory, and then we'll just move along. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. She has a very thick British accent.
I don't know what kind of British
I
accent. I don't, yeah.
But, like, if you heard it, you know what I mean. I'm trying to think of a good example, but, like, very Love Island. That's it.
Sure,
That's all I got. Very that.
Someone in the comments section
he's
can
got
tell us what the accent is.
Yeah, he's got it a little bit, but he's way easier to understand than she is.
Like, at times she's pretty clear, but when she speaks quickly, it
Most
becomes
of
so
the
difficult
time.
for American ears. Maybe not British ears, but American ears, it becomes very difficult for us to understand.
Yeah.
Do you want to run through what the conversation was roughly before you say your theory?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So she's like, oh, I wish I could have the place to myself all the time. And then she, like, she
fry.
eats, like, a tater tot or something. Yeah, something like that. And then she, like, goes to him and she's like, want a one, for some reason. And then he's
What
like,
about me?
hey, yeah, I better be a part of that made-up
Yeah.
world of yours. And she's like, oh, I need you hanging around annoying me all day, roughly.
Yeah, that's
Look
what the
at- we had
subtitles
to-
say. I can't, like, listening to it, if I didn't have the subtitles, I wouldn't have a clue what she was saying. She says,
Cannot confirm
she
that
says
that
it
is what's
so
said.
fast and jumps,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I hate to sound like just like an America-centric guy, but, like, I really couldn't understand what she was saying at all.
Yeah, it was.
But
not
the
good.
conversation, and it doesn't help
So-
that we can't piece it together from the context of the conversation, because the conversation itself seems really confusing. She says, like, I wish I could have the place to myself.
Yeah.
And then she says, wanna one. And it's like a song. She sings it, and I don't know what that means. Want a one?
So let me explain
Yeah,
my
you go ahead.
theory, which So my theory is she, before today, has like a little made up language she likes to speak sometimes, and it's kind of silly, and he's here for it. Cause he says like, "Oh, there better be room for me in that made up world of yours." Like she's getting in her head and she's being silly. That's what I think was happening because that's the only thing that made sense to me. Now your theory, go.
My theory was that she's saying she's saying I wish I had a place of my own, right? I wish I lived here alone. I wish I didn't have I wish I had the house to myself. Wanda 1 is supposed to be either Wanda Fry because she's eating a fry right then, or she's saying, "Do you want a place of your own?" And then he says, "What about me?" Which I don't understand how. I guess where would I be in this scenario? And then he says, "You better have room for me in your made up thing." And then that would be like the made up thing would be the living on her own fantasy. And then she says, "I don't need you hanging around because you just annoy me." And so the idea being like it's weird that we even have to come up with theories of what a conversation was about.
Passing moment. Yeah, it was a very passing moment.
It happened so quickly, and we got so lost in it.
Technically, it is.
Yeah, because he says, you better have room for me. She says, I don't want you hanging around because you just be annoying me all the time. She says it with a smile. She's not like being mean. And then they're being cute, and he says like, oh, you'd miss me really. And then, is this at the point where he pulls his incredible prank on her?
Yeah, he has like a tater tot with ketchup and he smears it on her face. And she's like, "Oh, it's on."
Oh yeah. So well, hold on. We forgot something, as is tradition. When they were playing Atari games, neither of them, it was really clear the actors did not know how to play video games at all. One of them was just mashing the button and holding the thumbstick to one side. The other one was just wiggling the thumbstick around and not pressing the button at all. But they're like getting really heated in the moment, and she goes, 6-0, yeah, I win. And then she goes, "Oh, geez, I don't want to wake up Mom." So like, Mom is sleeping in the other room, and she got kind of loud. But she didn't wake up Mom, and that's fine. Flash forward to where we were talking about where he swipes her with the ketchup on the fry. Suddenly, they're just loud as heck. Suddenly, she has completely forgotten that she was trying not to wake up Mom, and she's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you! I'm speaking at full volume because I no longer care about waking up my mother."
Right, and then let's talk about this. This is something I remember. I've had arguments with my dad about this. Real quick, just to clarify, because I feel like I don't want to paint my dad in a bad light.
No, yeah, I didn't mean to.
I don't think I... So, just real quick, to clarify, this is in regards to shows and stuff, and his basic thing is just like when two people get into a fight or whatever, the girl has no chill. And in this instance, that does confirm it.
On TV, I think, that is pretty much right.
Yeah. So,
it
just
shouldn't be,
I just felt
but it is right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in this case, Brandon, you know Jody. You know she has no chill.
Like in a much...
I'm
just thinking like in a much more realistic scenario. Like, I feel like if someone swiped your face with ketchup, you'd probably be like, "What the heck?" And then maybe push them. Max. Like, at max. You wouldn't leap up out of the couch and start shaking up a soda to just drench them.
Or, like, even, like, realistically, like, if it's going to be a thing, like, I guess, like, you swipe my cheek with it, I'll get some ketchup on your nose, and we'll laugh, because now we both have ketchup on our face, and we're so
wacky and quirky, it's so funny. Ha, ha, ha,
we have fun.
We have fun. Ha.
Yeah. But then it's over. The moment passes.
We are no longer having fun.
We move on. we move on. Jody,
Can I just say,
that's what normal
if you
people
put
do.
ketchup on me, ever, that would really piss me off. I
Can
hate
I just
ketchup.
say, you come at me with some condiments?
No, I will never ever come at you with condiments in any scenario.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people listening. You come at me with some condiments, I'm coming for your household.
I guess women do have no chill. That was that's the music sting. Like,
yeah.
I guess we all learned something today.
Yeah. Hopefully you paid attention. She knocked him into the TV and knocked it over. And here's one thing that I thought was like, I didn't mention it because you gotta leave some stuff fresh for the recording. But I thought this was funny that like the TV is fine. When it fell over, it just knocked the cord off. Like, just pick it up, put it back.
Yeah, it slams face down, and we don't see any damage to it.
TVs are pretty durable. Like, I just drove halfway cross country or whatever with my TV. It wasn't bubble wrapped or anything. It was just banging around in the trunk bed.
I actually did the exact same thing with my TV. I took my TV to Virginia when I went to visit Blake, and it was fine. It still worked. That's it. That's it. I didn't throw it to the floor. And it didn't, in the show, it does not fall that far. But either way, all that commotion wakes up Jody's mom. Let's just get back on track. Jody's mom comes back into the room and she says, "What's all this?" And then, like, Brandon's covered in soda and he's looking at her like, and Jody's just, like, standing there like, "Oh, no, I've been caught." And Jody's mom looks around the room and sees all this junk food and the TV on the floor and Brandon covered in soda. And she looks at Brandon and says, "Brandon, go home." And Brandon says, "Okay." And he just leaves. And then she looks at Jody and she says, "Jody, I just grounded you. And you're already making a mess. Please leave. I have to clean this up." And Jody's just like, does she say anything?
No, well, she tries to get cute, and she's like, "Oh, it's just a TV," and that's when the mom is like, just you need to go."
Yeah, you need to go. I need to clean this up." And Jody's just like, Jody's really not getting it at all.
Seriously though, like, as someone who like recently started being responsible for their life, I was like, no, it is not just a TV, Jody.
Yeah.
Like, I felt so like mommed up on Jody this episode, and
as kind of a techie person, I'm really paranoid about like dropping technology. So like, I wouldn't have been just a TV either. I'm like, are you insane?
Tech abuse is real, people.
Do not abuse your tech. Do not do it. If you do it, I will be mad at you. That means don't throw your laptop. Don't throw your phone. Don't just like, I don't know, like kick your TV around. There was this guy. Okay, this is a total sidetrack. My old roommate's girlfriend's friend, very, very disconnected from me. She asked me to fix her laptop. And when I got it, I found out what was wrong. What was wrong was that she had snapped it in two. Like, like there's a screen on the keyboard. She bent it all the way back. And I said, "I don't think I can fix this. How did this happen?" And she said, "I got really mad at it, and I just snapped it. Can you fix it?" And I said, "I don't think I can fix this. You have destroyed your laptop. You have definitely voided the warranty, but also, what are you doing?" And I found out later, she like regularly, like when she gets mad, she'll just throw her laptop out the window. Or like across the room.
I've just been sitting here for that whole, like, last sentence or whatever with a very, like, kind of on edge and just really scared. That's not
That's not a normal thing to do, even if it's not a computer, right? Like, if you get mad while writing something down on a notebook, you shouldn't throw the notebook either. That's not what a well-settled, normal human being does.
Like, I guess, like, that doesn't sound as, like,
Throwing a
bad,
notebook?
I guess, throwing a notebook.
Yeah, because
like,
you know the notebook's
I don't
probably
do
fine.
That. Yeah. And,
But she will pick up a piece of technology and just chuck it. Apparently, she broke her boyfriend's PS3 that way. And then they broke up. And I'm like, good. She should be in jail.
Yeah. Like, I get, because I'm just thinking, like, some people need, like, a physical way
Their
to
anger
get,
out?
like,
Yeah.
anger out. And, like, I don't think that that's particularly good. I mean, I guess unless it's, like, a punching bag.
No. See, the punching bag's not high tech enough. She needs something that'll break permanently. Something she really needs for school.
Oh, no, I'm not recommending help for
she's
her.
help. She is beyond help.
Well, I'm not saying that either.
I'm saying that.
She's on her own. Okay. Fine.
I've interacted with this person.
But
she's beyond help.
I guess, gosh, I'm going to quote you on that. Some people are just lost causes, I guess. But I was going to say, like, you know, there's some people, like, who punch a hole in the wall, and I think that's kind of
it's like, yikes,
iffy.
yeah.
I don't know if that's, like, good, like, self-control-ish. I don't know. But, I don't know. Spackling a wall, I don't think is as hard as getting a new laptop.
Certainly not as expensive.
That's
That's your hot take. Zach's hot takes on throwing laptops. Don't.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe Zach's extremely cold takes. Hey, don't be bad.
My new series.
Speaking of not being bad.
So Jodie has to, like, leave the house to, like, because her mom was like, I'm done with you, get out. So she goes downstairs and this old man comes up to her with this weird box with some ancient, like,
some
markings on it or whatever. And, like, he's like, I'm Baz Warner. The blue skin man touched me, but I got this from him. And he sets it down for her, and then Gunman, whatever. She comes up and she's like, "Oh, what you got there? I saw that old man left it with you. I'll be taking that." And she's like, "Hey, he left that with me. You don't say this, and I won't tell everybody that you've been water ballooning everybody around town." And I'm like, "Bruh, we're on the balcony.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's an apartment complex." And, like, I want to be very clear that this was, like, an open, not like the apartment complexes where, like, you go in a building in a house. It's like an open courtyard.
Yeah, there's like
area,
a central courtyard with 3 floors of balconies surrounding the courtyard.
Secrets out, Mrs. Gunman. We all been know.
It doesn't seem like anybody likes Mrs. Gunson. So, like, if this person you didn't like that you know is both a gossip and a klepto, like, it's pretty common knowledge apparently. That was a thing. We actually forgot to mention this. Jodie and her mom talked about apparently Mrs. Gunson steals from charity boxes, which is like, yo, what the heck? You're criticizing people because it's a slippery slope and they might turn into Baz Warren, and yet you're a thief. And this is, like, so weird to me. Like, the show kind of acts like we're all supposed to just have a person like Mrs. Gunson in our lives that we can all identify with. But I can't identify at all with knowing a person who is simultaneously a huge gossip and a narc, and also a klepto who will steal valuable things and charity money. Like, I've never met anyone like that.
Weird. Yeah, I thought that was bizarre. But yeah, so she takes it and she has, like, a lockbox, which I thought that was weird. I didn't know apartment complexes had lockers.
I guess it's supposed to be kind of like the mailbox, right? Like, you open up your mailbox and you just put it in there for safekeeping. I don't know why you wouldn't just put it in your home. Because you live here.
It was real. It was really weird. But yeah, she just does that. And she watches her, and then she goes up and she gets a bobby pin and she takes it. And there's like a little note card on it. It says, "Take from me, I'll take from you."
Yeah, and it's not written
like,
by,
whatever.
that was not written by Mrs. Gunson. That card was actually on it when Baz Warren left it for Jody. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
clear,
apparently
that's
part of the
deal.
package.
So she goes back upstairs, and her mom's like, "You back yet?" Which again, this is one issue I just have with like the episode as far as pacing goes. Like, how much time passed? I keep asking that because like you said, go take a walk. I need to clean this up, but then you come back. She comes back, and you're like, "Oh, where you been? You told me to go.
leave.
Did you
Yeah.
forget?"
How long?
Like,
if she was gone for an hour, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, I'm sorry for getting so mad at you, but it's this and this and this. I'm very, very tired. You know, some explanation from Mom. Instead, Mom is like, "Where have you been?" Like she's been gone for 2 days.
Yeah, she maybe at most took a lap around the complex.
She was not gone for very long.
Maybe. She went downstairs and up, really, is what we saw. But anyway, so her mom's like, so she takes this thing to her room and just to look at, see what it is, like what all the fuss is about. And then her mom comes in and she immediately stands up and stands
very
in front
suspiciously.
of it.
And Mom is just like, "Hey, Jody,
what?
Jody, what are you hiding behind your back?" And it's like, yeah.
It's almost it's comical.
I mean, it would be comical if the show was amusing. Honestly, it's like, I would be amused if Jody didn't put her mother through so much garbage.
Yeah, here's the thing too. It's like, I'm very stressed out watching this dynamic, but I guess from a parent's perspective, maybe it's good that your daughter is so bad at getting away with stuff, so you're never really worried. Like, you're stressed because she's causing trouble, but you're not really worried because it's not like you don't know what she's up to.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true because
she's a bad liar.
My parents were very stressed when they would hear about shenanigans I got into as a teen. And the thing is, they didn't know about every shenanigan I got into. So, like, I imagine they probably recognized that while they weren't paying attention. Like, maybe it's possible Jody's getting into so many shenanigans that some of them she's getting away with. And Jody, I don't know. Either way, Mom is very stressed. And she says, what are you hiding? And Jody's like, "Oh, it's nothing. I just found something." And then Jody's mom says, "Okay, why are you hiding it behind your back then?" And she says, "It's nothing." And then Jody's mom steps forward and steps around her and says, "Honestly, Jody, why can't you just be honest with me?" And, like, as she's saying that, so when Jody came into the room, she opened up the box, and inside was, like, what looked, it kind of just looked like a crystal perfume bottle to me. But it's, like, instead of, like, a thing on top that you would take off and get the perfume out, I have no idea how you're supposed to get the perfume out of those things, by the way. Okay, I don't know anything about perfume. It's actually a button on top. You press the button and something happens. And she, like, tested it out and did some stuff, and we got an idea of what happens. But when her mom steps forward, she presses the button and time stops. And she looks at her mom and she realizes that this is what's happened. And she, like, moves her hand in front of her mom's face, and, like, she's like, "Holy cow, this box stops time." She figures that out. She presses the button again, and her mom starts moving again. And she's like, "What is this thing?" And Jody says, "Oh, it's a disappearing box. You press the button and the box disappears." And she says, "What are you talking about?" And she says, "See?" And she presses the button. Time stops. Mom is holding the box. She takes the box out of Mom's hand and puts it down somewhere, like, out of sight. And then with her foot presses the button again. And the mom is now holding nothing. And she's standing there. And she says, "What did you do with the box?" And Jody's like, What box? And Jody's mom is just like, honestly, Jody, you are taking years off of me. Please stop. You're so frustrating. And I'm like, I feel for her
Like,
mom
it's
so bad. Because Jody is like trying to be fun and cute. But if all you do is cause your mother stress, then nothing you do is going to be cute.
okay. Here's an actual hot take. What if Creeped Out is like actually trying to be a little smarter and like trying to subvert expectations? Because like Jody's basically being like in like an old sitcom, like the wild crazy kid who's always getting into hijinks, and usually the parent is always like, oh,
Yeah.
you. But this time she's just over it. She's so exasperated. She can't. She's done. She's moving on.
I suppose that's possible. Maybe. I don't know if that's probable.
maybe?
The show doesn't seem to be particularly like that smart anywhere else.
No.
But it is possible that they
I
had this
think
good
that's-
idea and they wanted to do something with it. And honestly, I don't mind because it's not like we're supposed to think the mom's the bad guy in this episode. She's not. We're, I think, supposed to take some pity on the mom. I just don't know if we were supposed to take as much pity on the mom as I end up taking, because I have almost no sympathy for Jody at all. Because she is
Yeah.
the worst.
So that happens, and the mom leaves. She's literally just like, whatever, Jody.
Like,
blah.
I don't have time for or energy for your weird games. I don't know how you did that crazy magic trick. I don't care. Which is
Yeah.
like, that should be
Like,
a big warning sign to Jody at that point. Oh, my mom doesn't care how I violated the laws of physics. Maybe I've driven her to the edge. Maybe her life is on a knife edge and she no longer cares about the laws of reality.
Yeah,
You would
at
think
first
that
I
would be
was
like, oh, geez, I've really stressed her out, haven't I?
oh wow, you know what? It's so funny. I did not even think about it at that point. I was just like, yeah, she's over Jody. I'm over Jody. Who cares? But like, yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, she broke the law.
Yeah, she absolutely broke the... I mean...
There was a big box
And
in
it
your
no
hands,
longer exists.
And as far as you
and now
know,
she's
in a
gaslighting you
blink,
as a goof, but she's trying to convince you there wasn't a box. You're either crazy or your daughter is breaking the laws of physics, and frankly, it doesn't matter. She's fed up. She's out of there.
I love it. Okay, so first order of business, as always, she's like, oh, this box stops time. So she stops time again. She goes to find Brandon. He is on his, like...
He's eating
he's
an
on,
ice
like,
cream, and
in
on the stairwell, he's
stairwell
eating an ice cream and about to pick up the phone. He's getting a call.
To answer
Yeah, who the hell is
Lauren.
Lauren? Get the heck out of here, Lauren.
But it's Jody and Brandon's world. No room
Lauren.
for you.
No,
Anyway,
Lauren.
So
No. You don't get to steal away Brandon. Jody belongs with Brandon. I'm trying to think of a ship name, and I can't. Jandon.
Yeah. Bodie?
John?
I don't like
I hate
Bodie.
this.
Bodie? Bodie is a name.
That's true.
Okay, anyway. So, she does what any good best friend does, and she swaps them. So then when she unfreezes time, he gets an ice cream in his ear, and he goes to take a bite of his phone.
By the way, can I just say,
like you do.
who answers their phone so hard that they would smash it into, like, if you swapped out their item, they would smash it into their ear?
I think... Well, isn't that like a weight difference? Because, like, he was expecting it to be the weight
okay,
of the
fair.
phone.
That's fair. Phones are heavier than the ice cream he's holding is not very big, so it could very well be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so then he's like, oh, how'd you do that? First of all, how'd you get here? 5 seconds. Because he didn't see her coming up or anything. And then she's like, oh, I got this thing. So anyway, she catches him up, and she's like, look, this old man, oh, by the way, everyone's fed up with Jody. Nobody cares anymore, even Brandon, because she's just like, oh, this old man came up to me claiming to be, Baz Warren. Long story. And he doesn't press.
Yeah.
He's fine. Yeah, that sounds about like what you get into. Let's go. tell me why this, clock stoppers, and pretty much anything where you can freeze time, first order of business, let's ruin everybody else's day. Because, like, we talked about this. I asked you, if I could freeze time, I think I would try to, like, travel. Just take, like, a vacation, maybe go to an amusement park or something. I guess I wouldn't be able to operate anything. But, like, just take a me day, not have to worry about lines or anything. Just, like, have some fun by myself or with a friend or whatever, however many people I could bring along for this ride of freezing time, you know? But they just want to make everyone's day miserable.
There's like,
oh, right.
If we're looking at like exactly the first thing I'd do, if I could stop time, I think the first things I'd do would all be things that are too fast for human eyes to see. So like, if you threw, like I said, this is an example. Like they were using water balloons earlier. If you threw a water balloon and you stopped time, you could like look at the exploding water balloon while it's exploding at any angle. That would be really cool. Or like take an aerosol can and just spray it and stop time, and you could see all the little particles. The only way you get to see that is if you have like a slow motion camera, and even then you can't look around it at different angles, right? Like these are the kinds of things you could do if you could stop time, and it wouldn't involve hurting anyone. It wouldn't involve bothering anyone. You could just learn about all kinds of stuff.
And then one last, but like, since the rules are you can only be bad, then I guess I'll try to rob a bank or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't go big or go home.
Like, yeah, but why am I just inconveniencing my neighbors? I have to live with these people. Why do I want them sad? Really think about, like, that. Like, if you see, like, the same person every day, even though you don't talk to them, but, like, you see them. You know that they're fine. Now you see them every day. Now, this only lasts for a day, but foreseeably, they would have this forever, and they would keep doing this every day.
Oh my gosh, that would get so boring.
Every day, you see this person who, like, because, like, some of the things they do, again, ice cream spilling on a face, stepping on an egg, you're spraying your flowers, but it sprays you in the face. Jodi's not creative. She's going to be doing this every day. And every day, you'd see, I think this guy would probably develop, like, some sort of, like, mild aversion to watering his flowers.
Not just mild aversion to watering his flowers. He would develop a mild aversion to Jodi. She's the only one who doesn't have this happen to her.
Yeah. So, there's that. So, they go do their shenanigans, so fun. But then they see remember, Baz Warren,
you don't want to end up like him.
Warned about...
It's a slippery slope.
You don't. But what a name. Like, your parents knew.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that. Oh gosh! Now that I'm suddenly realizing, Baz Warren. You were saying maybe Baz is short for Basil, and I said maybe Barry, and you looked it up, and Baz could be short for either of those. If his name was Barry Warren, he's got 2 double R's. I mean, what if his name was Barry Warren, or Barry Warren?
Yeah. Again, nothing against those names.
Altogether, it's
just,
a
like,
lot.
Together,
Baz Warren.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bit much. Yeah, Baz. Like Baz already sounds like kind of like a tough guy name to me.
Baz. Yeah.
Yeah, but then like Baz Warren, that makes it sound like kind of a little villainy. Just a smidge villainy. So I wasn't surprised to hear that he was doing community payback.
Wow.
All I'm saying.
Rude.
Creeped Out taught me it's okay to judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
So anyway, Old Man Warren warned us that the man with blue skin touched him, and now he's old. I don't know how.
By the way, this was a thing I predicted this during the episode, and I ended up being wrong. And I'm kind of annoyed by this. Because what I suggested was a lot cooler than what they ended up doing. Which is that Baz Warren says, he turned me old you know, the guy with blue skin. And I said, oh, so probably what happens is the guy stops time, and then he starts it up for one person and doesn't let them like resume life. So everybody else is frozen, and now he basically just like forces them to live for years and years and years while time is stopped. And then when he starts time up again, now they've in an instant aged, but they lived all of those years, which would be horrifying. Right? Right?
Yeah.
That's not
Like,
what
he's
happens in
basically
this
forcing
episode.
an I
That
am
would have been
legend.
really cool as a bad guy thing, but that's not what happens in this episode.
I guess that means, but like from what we see, he's neutral. I guess he's lawful.
He's not
neutral.
lawful neutral.
And then
He's not obeying the laws of physics.
isn't. Well, it's like a D&D world. There's magic.
Yeah, I guess he's basically
But
he has a set of principles that
he has his own
and
laws.
he holds to them firmly, but they're not
regardless
evil,
of other.
and they're not
people.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess he would be lawful.
Yeah.
Leave in the comments what you think the Travelers' alignment is too.
Yeah. Okay. So where were we?
So they
All right,
were
yeah.
pulling pranks
So
on people.
the blue man
Yeah, they were pulling
shows
pranks, and they
up,
hear a
and he
noise, and they're
starts-
like, "Wait, what? I thought we were alone and stopped time." And then they hear the noise getting
Right.
closer, footsteps, and so they pretend to be frozen. And you see around the corner the Blue Man, the last surviving member of the Blue Man group. Not that they're dead; they're fine. It's a good show, actually. But he's coming up in like a very
steampunk slash.
It's a little bit
detective
steampunk, a
getup.
little detective-y, and it's a little bit camp, I think. Because he's got these very saucy boots, and his hat's very detective-y, but his jacket kind of, it looks like it's a little bit like, oh, that's a good look. And he wears gloves.
He's a very dapper.
Yeah.
Traveler, which is.
And
what
he's
he
looking
is,
very
to me.
stern, and he
Yeah.
walks right up to them.
Oh, one thing also, he like looks like Hank Azaria.
Yeah,
painted
he
blue.
really does. Especially when he, like, certain angles, he looks very, very Hank Azaria.
Which, like, when I said it while we were watching it, I said it kind of like a roast, and like I don't know why I said it like that, because not really. It was more just like an observation. But he just got Hank Azaria.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're standing there being frozen, and they look very silly because everybody else, their hair's not moving or anything, and these kids are like, ooh, like pretending to be frozen. And Blue Skin Man, for some reason, he's very suspicious of them, and then he walks away. And I'm like, how did you not
Yeah,
know?
there were a lot of false alarms, but anyway, they follow him, and he's in Gunman's house. And remember, Gunson, sorry.
Yeah, they hear
And
screams.
Remember,
and
she stole it.
it turns out,
yeah,
because she stole
yeah.
the box from Jody, this guy is after her. And they see him standing over her with his hand shooting blue lightning, and she turns to face them, and the side that the hand is touching or shooting lightning at is turning old, which is apparently what the Traveler's power is. And again, I'm like, it would have been really cool if it had been like a thing where you lived for a certain... No, he just shocks you and you turn old.
Because, like, yeah, so he does that.
And they're like,
oh my gosh, why
we
is
have
he
to
doing
run
this?
because he sees them.
So, yeah, so then they kind of wrap up basically a little bit. So, near the end, they put the box
Yeah, they
in the
run
middle of the
away.
courtyard.
They try to
and-
figure out what to do. Brandon's like, wait, maybe if we give it back to him, it'll be fine. And Jody and Brandon give him the box.
because remember
and
because the card said, you take,
yeah,
I
you
take from
me,
you.
I take from you.
So he picks it up, and then he turns around, and they're like, you got what you wanted, so leave me alone. And he, like, raises his finger, and he wags it like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. But he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say words. So then they're like, what? And then they run back home, and he's following after them. But they get to the house, and they see Mom. She's frozen, but she's frozen, and she was in the middle of
Yeah,
crying.
she has a tear frozen in place down her cheek, and in front of her there's a laptop, and she's buying a 34-inch 4K TV to replace the one that was broken, and she's next to her is a jar with a holiday fund in it, and she's taking money out of that. Which, okay, let's pause for a second. Pause time. Right? So, I understand they want to communicate to us that she's really sad that she has to use the holiday money to replace the TV that Jody broke, and Jody feels bad about it. And Jody looks at it and goes like, I didn't even know we had a holiday fund. Oh, no. But, like, imagine the scenario in which you're like, I have to replace the TV, and you're holding cash in your hand, but you're also making an online purchase and crying.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. I guess, like, maybe this wouldn't have been easy to communicate, but you can make accounts in your bank. Usually, like, you can name them whatever you want. So she could have just had her phone opened up in her hand, and she was like checking her bank balance, and she was looking at the account that was titled Holiday Fund.
Or
and they zoom
she
in
could
on
have had
that,
like a
and
second
she notices it that way.
window open that's transferring money from her savings to her checking, and then
But, like,
Jody could have just been like, I didn't know we had to cut into the savings for that. Like, oh,
like either way,
heck,
you don't
screw the
you can't
TV,
use cash
screw the
on
cash,
computer.
screw the holiday fund. Just have her sitting at the table and sobbing. I mean, Jody walks in and her mom is frozen in time, sobbing alone in her kitchen. Like, Jody should have had a moment like, oh my lord, Mom is going through a lot right now. Right? Like, we don't need the TV subplot or the holiday fund. None of that is important because none of it is material to the lesson of the episode. Because the guy is still coming after them, even though they've given back the box.
Yeah, okay, so that he comes in and he
takes off his glove dramatically.
Zapping.
And he starts zapping Brandon in the face. And Brandon's like, oh no, what did she take from you? We gave you back the box. Oh.
But wait, hold up. So then she's like, no, don't take him from me. Without him, I have nothing. And then the guy's like, yep, that
checks out.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I do.
Yeah, he like nods and she's just like, no, please. She doesn't say he's my everything, but she, in other words, basically says that. I mean, she literally says the phrase, without Brandon, I have nothing. Which is like, I guess, the biggest profession of love you can give about someone without just saying I love you.
But, like, yeah, and also, like, her mom's right there sobbing in the room.
No.
Glad to know where
Brandon
stand.
is my everything. And so Brandon's getting turned old, and his hair starts turning white. And then the traveler.
Oh yeah, then she's
the traveler is still shocking him, and Jody has this sudden realization that this guy, the thing she stole, that this guy is punishing her for, isn't that she stole the box. The problem is she stole her mother's happiness. And she realizes, listens, like you hear an echo from the past. Jody's mom saying, your bad behavior is taking years off me. Years. And Jody's like, oh, I get it.
But then she's like, wait, no, don't take Brandon. Take me. And then and Brandon's like, hey, being a very reasonable boy. Brandon is best boy of this episode.
The guy stops shocking him, but Brandon still steps in the way of Jody and just like, whoa. You don't have to take her either.
What if we give back her happiness? We know what it is now. She knows what she did wrong. She'll do it. And then the guy, he has this look like,
and like his expression doesn't change. I said his like 6 times. His expression doesn't change, But the way he just, like, drops his hand is just like, oh, I've never thought of that before. And it's just like, oh, what a good moment. Because then he thinks about it, and then he extends his hand, not to touch her face or not to shoot her with lightning, but to hold it out for a handshake. And she shakes his hand. And then in the tension, he turns her hand and shocks it with his blue electricity, but doesn't turn her old, just does something to her hand.
Yeah.
And the next day, fade to black, fade back in. We see the apartment is very clean, and apparently she has sold off her game console. And I'm like,
well, Brandon sold off his game console. I don't know what she sold, but they were like,
well, no, she definitely sold off her
everything.
game console, because he says, here's how much money Brandon comes in with like a bunch of cash, and he says, here's how much money I got for your console.
Well, no, he said, no.
The console was in her apartment.
I sold. No, but he sold his too, because that's his.
Yeah,
one.
I think they
he
sold
had to give
both
a piece
of
of
theirs.
his happiness too.
Which is insane.
They did break a TV. Well, they did. Technically, they unplugged
Yeah,
the TV.
okay. I guess Brandon's trying to be a little bit responsible. Anyways, she's sold off all of her possessions to replenish the holiday fund.
Yeah. I don't know what's included in her possession, but whatever. So, like, what she has left, I don't know. But he's starting to leave. He turns back to her. He's like, hey, did you mean what you said yesterday? But I'm your
And
best
I was
friend.
like, I had to pause the episode and go, she didn't say that. She said you're her everything. She said she has nothing without you. That's way more than the best friend.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
he's,
getting
like,
friend
going
zoned,
back
but this is something else.
He's like walking himself into
He's
isolation.
like, oh, you love me? Well, I'm going to just walk over into the friend zone right now. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, I don't. He's, they're setting yourself up for
she's
failure.
like,
and then
she
there's
basically
whatever
just
this is.
told you, I love you. And you went, oh, really? Okay. Like, what are you doing?
Well, you know what? Who's Lauren?
I guess that's true. Maybe he doesn't love her back. Yikes.
He was trying to let her down easy. Like, you meant that yesterday, right? About us being best friends.
And she went, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, Brandon walks out of there.
It.
Honestly, to be fair, that is actually a very good way to handle that. If that were the case, if Brandon doesn't love her, but she loves him, you meant that thing about us being best friends, right? And then she can pretend like she said that, and he can pretend like he didn't hear her say that, and then they can just move on with their lives.
Yeah, that
was
really
very good.
Yeah, like I said, Brandon.
I don't think they meant it that way, though.
No, they did not. But I'm gonna believe it.
She pulls out a card that the blue-skinned man has left her, and it says something like, "You break your promise, and I'll break mine. This is just a reminder of the punishment that awaits." And she looks at her hand, the one that she shook, and her hand is now withered and aged. And I'm like, I mean,
behold the ravages of age.
I was just gonna say, it might be a good time to start wearing gloves.
Yeah. So that was
what about the Curious?
11.
I want him. He's my favorite. Well, the Curious is on a balcony,
fine.
and he picks up a card that says, "Take from me, and I'll take from you." And then the narrator says, "Don't be bad." And then the Curious walks away. There. Now that's the episode.
Alright, so that was episode 11 of Creeped Out. We got 2 left for season 1. We are hanging in there, and we're doing this.
We're almost there.
And you're listening to this. Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
So, yep. So check in with us again. Remember to like and subscribe. And you should comment and talk to me because I like friends. Okay, bye.